tell them we are sick, they just give Tylenol. And no doctors. I used to work for one of my employees, and I was sick. My ear was hurting me a lot, and I told her like my ear was hurting me, and she, uh, she, she called one of the doctor, and she told like I'll call the doctor, and I'll give you the medicine, but that doesn't happen. And I just took Tylenol.
But I'm wondering also, do you maybe reach out to churches? Like you said, some people go to church with their employees or things like that. Do we, like what other sort of networks can we use to get the word out so that if somebody goes to church with their employer, somebody at the church can say, hey, how are things going? Or, you know, at the airport, when people come in with the G5 visa or A3 visa, what can we do to sort of raise awareness for these women before they are locked up somewhere for 3 months or something like that?
Can I take I'm going to exercise the moderator's privilege, which gives me the opportunity to also point out one of the handouts that's back there that is a little different from the others. So for several years, along with many of the people at this table, right, or advocacy groups, had been working with the State Department, right, because in particular, right, for workers who are coming on these special visas that have to be approved by the State Department, these women, right, there's an interview when they're with a consular officer in a country somewhere else where they have to be approved in the first place. So after many, many years of telling them that there has to be an opportunity to talk to a worker outside the presence of their employer, just this last year there was a new law passed and signed into law, and it was a reauthorization of the Trafficking Victims Protection Act that requires that the State Department give to workers a pamphlet that details what their rights are in the United States, what their labor rights are, what special rights they have under their visa, and that's being distributed. It's on the State Department's website. They have translated it, as far as we know, into 3 languages. They're supposed to translate it into many, many more. And colleagues of ours who do indeed sort of travel abroad and work with workers before they come have told us that they've seen folks with the pamphlet, so they are being handed out.
I got 2 calls from 2 Filipinos from separate households who knew to call for help after reading that pamphlet. And it was excellent. I was shocked and surprised, and I was like, how did you find me? Like they had only been in the country for a couple weeks, and they were already being treated quite badly, and knew to seek assistance and had those resources available to them. Unfortunately, there isn't necessarily uniformity throughout the world in terms of like the U.S. Embassy's implementation of this law. So at least the Philippines seems to be addressing the fact that there is a large number of Filipinos that are coming to the U.S. or going to other countries to do domestic work. What else can address the other issues?
For domestic workers that are already here, we as domestic workers organization reach out to them, like you mentioned, the church. Also, we are working with many churches throughout the city to spread the word about the various domestic workers organization, and we print a monthly newsletter that we give to workers wherever you meet them, in the library, in the bookstores, in the parks, wherever we meet them, and some of our workers take them to the various churches on Sundays when they go to the churches also.
Are these publications in Spanish as well?
Yes, yes. We do 3 languages. We do English, Spanish, and French.
Our outreach is really one of the hardest, component of our organizing work, because this community is very hard to access. Yeah, our job is in isolation mostly, in individual employers' homes, and our work schedules are, very different. Sometimes you're full-time, sometimes you're part-time, your days change, and also the residences of domestic workers change, so fast because of so many factors, and one of them is the immigration. So just like what Barbara said, we're very creative in outreach work, which, when you're part of the community, you know exactly where to find your sisters, and that's what we do. Social networks, social events in the community. When somebody has a birthday, and if she's a domestic worker, you will be sure that there are other domestic workers there. So, when we're free, we go there, not only to socialize, but also to motivate them to join the organization.
For our part, community newspaper is very helpful because our events, so when we had a demonstration, that's in the newspaper. So sometimes whenever we had little money, then we put ads there, and that's also helpful. And the demonstration pictures and all goes to the community newspaper. We had to rescue so many people from the community news, like they will beat me or they will call me even at night, 12 at night, saying like, this is the woman, it's in the United States building, please rescue her. So somehow a food vendor called the newspaper called me. Even in California, there was a woman in danger, he raped her. And that case was like big, but that man is in jail for 13 years right now. And the community people who call the community newspaper in New York, and then newspaper called me, and then I contacted Los Angeles, and then we go to, that's kind of way we help. And also the friend of, word of mouth, they would go travel to the, one time an incident happened, one of our members was traveling and other person was coming. Our membership is like some member even didn't see each other because they work 7 days, or so once a while they come and then the other member didn't see them. So what happened, like two of them meet and then they both gave the card, and then fortunately same card, and they say like, I'm from Andolan, she says I am from Andolan. So then, it's like, that was like, so that's kind of where they talk, while waiting for employer to pick them up, that time they talk. And that's a newspaper also help on that. But we go to the park and then, they call somewhere. We got so many calls also from the employer, like American people who got my name from the website. And then she called me from there that she knew a neighbor was abused, so she would call me. Another employer, the current worker was there, and then he called me, said, I want to meet with you. I had a worker who worked for me. He didn't say work for me. He said, like, I know someone who got abused by the employer, so he brought her to me. And then, little by little, I tried to teach her how to come alone without employer, and he wasn't happy about it. And he said he denied to bring her anymore, and then he said, oh, don't go to this organization, that's not good, da, da, da. I found that he's not paying her 3 months. And so he told her not to tell me that he's the employer. So finally, we teach her how to come alone, and one day he came to my home with a taxi, and so just alone. So that's why they fired her also, but it was good that second job she got it. So that's kind of where we exist. So, but Andolan, lastly, like what I want to say, we needed so much support. Andolan is like all volunteers, all these members are their weekend, they come and they work, and nobody has a penny we can pay. So the office we have rented there in Jackson Heights, we have to lose that office soon because of we don't have money. And our members have difficulty, challenges to even write a grant for themselves because the school and they don't know English, they cannot write it. So it is very, very challenges for Andolan right now. We're struggling. So we maybe give up the office soon, very soon. That's happening. So we need so much help for that.
Well, thank you all again for coming and for watching this film. And again, please take any materials in the back, especially the ones regarding the Domestic Workers Bill of Rights, because that is something that you can actively support to help secure equal treatment for domestic workers in the state of New York. Thank you, and please another round of applause for our panelists.